2032 SIBA Free Agency Review by Scoop Winters, SIBA senior columnist. The 2032 free agency period will be remembered as one of the most aggressive, high-stakes summers in SIBA history. With cap space in play and multiple franchises chasing a championship window, general managers wasted no time reshaping rosters. From blockbuster extensions to under-the-radar depth signings, this market has redefined the league's balance of power. Let's start with the Oklahoma City Outlaws, the busiest team of the offseason. After locking up superstar Larson Smith to a $236 million extension in July, management doubled down with a flurry of role-player acquisitions. Anthony Lubeck, Morris Springer, Igor Soltz, Marvin Holt, Jason Karstensen, and veteran guard Joe Kelly. These aren't headline names, but together they signal a clear strategy: surround Smith with versatile depth and keep the team financially agile. The Outlaws believe they have the cornerstone, now they've built the scaffolding around him. The Detroit Legion were nearly as active, but their approach leaned heavier on star-caliber commitments. Cole Monroe's four-year, $47.8 million deal gives Detroit a legitimate rim protector, while signings of Mark Blakes, Roderick Barber, Danielle Herbert, and Fernando Davis fill out a rotation that has lacked consistency for years. Add in their tender retention of Conrad Wilcox, and the Legion have positioned themselves as one of the East's most improved clubs. The Atlanta Attack, perennial contenders, made the loudest noise in sheer star power, signing Ben Baker, Chong Yi Zhao, Mark King, and Brandon Davis, alongside depth pieces Darius Collier, Jared Anderson, and Chris Keys, creates an almost absurdly talented roster. This is an arms race, and Atlanta has stockpiled enough firepower to make even the most seasoned contenders nervous. For head coach Terrence Long, the challenge will be balancing minutes, egos, and expectations in what may be the league's deepest roster. Meanwhile, the Los Angeles Mamba ensured continuity while adding fresh support. Re-signing Michael Melliet to a $98 million deal was essential. He's the offensive engine of the franchise. But John Allen, Abraham Hirsch, Imari Mannheimer, and MJ Page now fortify the second unit. In a Western Conference where margins are razor thin, that kind of depth could prove decisive. Other contenders made their moves quietly but effectively. The San Antonio Monarchs landed Eddie Johns on a four-year, $64 million deal and paired him with Kareem Payne, creating a bruising front-court tandem. The Philadelphia Silverbacks, after winning the Patterson sweepstakes, continued to layer in talent with Trey Clark and Chris Odell, ensuring both present and future competitiveness. The Minnesota Lancers doubled down on size by committing $82.5 million to Ruslan Moravov just days after locking up Perry Y for nearly $100 million. Their Twin Tower strategy will test opponents physically every single night. And then there are the Milwaukee Wildcats, who opted for continuity at the top, re-signing Ryan Ward, $238, and Manny Lawrence, $182, means their championship core remains intact. Leon Murphy's addition was modest by comparison, but it rounds out a rotation that already has the pedigree to chase another title. A word, too, on the New Orleans Bears, who may not have made the flashiest moves but built a balanced roster with the additions of Henry Carey and Patrick Green alongside the re-signing of Reggie Kinzer. For a franchise looking to close the gap in the South, this summer was a step forward. The common thread across this market was boldness. Franchises with title aspirations, Atlanta, Los Angeles, Oklahoma City, Milwaukee, spent aggressively to maintain or enhance their championship windows. Teams like Detroit and Minnesota treated this summer as a reset button, reshaping their futures with big money bets. Others, like New Orleans and Philadelphia, focused on steady improvement. What does it all mean? The 2032-33 SIBA season may be the most competitive in league history. Nearly a dozen teams enter the year with a plausible path to contention. Super teams are forming, rebuilds are accelerating, and role players are being valued like never before. When historians look back, this offseason may stand as a tipping point. The balance of power shifted, not just between conferences, but within divisions. Training camps will open soon, and the league will get its first look at these revamped rosters. But make no mistake, the war for the SIBA crown has already begun, and its first battle was fought in free agency. Winners and losers of 2032, free agency, winners Atlanta attack. No team stockpiled more top-end talent. If chemistry holds, this roster could dominate the next 3 years. Oklahoma City Outlaws, a masterclass in depth building. Surrounding Larson Smith with capable role players on affordable deals is the definition of smart roster construction. Detroit Legion, finally committed to a long-term identity. Monroe gives them defensive legitimacy, and their depth moves push them back into the Eastern mix. Milwaukee Wildcats, it's not sexy, but locking down Ward and Lawrence ensures their championship core stays intact through 2037. Losers Portland Rhinos, Thomas Rowe and Frank Cole are fine players, but relative to what their division rivals did, Portland's offseason feels underwhelming. Chicago Guardians, Quadjo Seagars and Otis White are solid signings, but with other East teams making power moves, Chicago risks slipping behind. Toronto Roar, Byron Simmons on a one-year flyer doesn't move the needle. The Roar stood pat while the rest of the conference upgraded. This is Scoop Winters, your senior columnist, and the ledger is clear. In 2032, some teams bought their way into contention, while others watched the arms race from the sidelines. The season ahead will tell us who made the right bets and who will regret them.